All right, so welcome back. So what we're going to work on now is displaying quotes. So if you look at kind of like the finish page and you look at it, you'll say, hey, it looks like there's a giant area on here for displaying the quotes. And then if you look at our current local host, and you'll say, hey, there seems to be something missing. The way we're going to choose to display the quotes this time is with a table. Last time we chose to use an unordered list. That was fine. This time we're going to choose to use a table because there's some cool Bootstrap CSS for tables. So let's go visit our Bootstrap page. Go to the CSS area. In the CSS area, find the area for tables. And specifically what we're going to be doing is kind of like a stripe table. So you can go look at the stripe table. And just like we've kind of done many times, we're going to start by stealing some example code. If you were to just click on copy this time, the only thing it would actually copy though is just these two lines. We actually want to copy like the entire example. If you want to do that, you can right click, you can say inspect element, and you can use the Chrome Dev tools to copy it in. So get it to where you can see the entire, like minify the entire table just in one node. And then honestly just right click on it and say copy as HTML, and then come into our page here, go above the modal but below the nav bar, so you can see we've got the nav bar and then the modal, and then we're going to just paste our table right there. So you can see that what we got is we got the Bootstrap classes for table and then table striped. And then we got just an example table. So it's got a T head area, it's got a T body area with a couple rows. And let's go ahead and refresh our page. And when our page comes up, you can see that it's got some problems, right? So there's a couple problems. The first problem is the heading title is actually underneath the nav bar. So it's supposed to like say stuff. You can't even see it because it's underneath the nav bar. The second problem is the width is off. It's going all the way over to the side, and it's also, it doesn't have this cool like wrapper box around it, right? So we've got something, but we've got a long way to go. First thing we'll fix is the dropping down. So we're actually going to fix that with some custom CSS. So we're going to open up our movie quotes CSS area, and we're just going to add a rule to the body. So we're just going to do a padding top rule of 70 pixels. So if we add that rule, and I mean you can refresh it after each one of these if you like. So now you can see I can see my titles and things like that. It's still too far over to the left, so I'm going to have to fix that, and it doesn't have the box, right? So still more to go. The fixing of the flowing all the way to the left, this is actually a fundamental thing in Bootstrap. And actually, if you just go to the top of the CSS page, it'll talk pretty early on about containers, right? So all of the stuff that you put on your page should be in either a container class or a container fluid class. So container fluid lets it go the entire width of the page. Container keeps it limited to the space you want. So we actually should have put our table inside a container. So if we come back over into to Eclipse, we actually want to put the start of a container before it, and then we want to close that div for the container after it. And if you want to, you can highlight this area and do a Control-Shift-F, and it'll format it for you. So you can refresh your page now. And so now when the page refresh, you can see that it actually limits it to the container width. So it actually lines up on the left with movie quotes, and it lines up on the right with edit. Things like this of like keeping nice clean columns, it's really important for making your UI design look pretty. Still has a couple other problems, right? So it doesn't have that nice pretty box. The data in it's all wrong. The font size of the headers is wrong. Things like that. This pretty box, we're actually going to kind of steal some custom CSS and just kind of do our own fix to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to, in addition to the container, we're going to make another div, and we're going to add a class to it. This is just one that I made. This is a table wrapper. Wrappers are pretty common things to do, but this one, the CSS, is just custom stuff. And so I'm going to put its closing div there. And then, of course, if you want to, you can indent the table one farther. And so now your indents hopefully line up pretty. Just adding the wrapper doesn't do anything. You actually have to add some CSS pertaining to this wrapper. One thing that I chose to do with this wrapper is I chose to be sneaky, and I chose to make it only show up when the page was big. If the page gets too small, you want your screen real estate so you can see it actually goes away at some point, and then it shows back up at some point. So that was a sneaky thing that I did, and I'll show you how that was done. So you can just copy this from the slides. So here's the area I want. So this is a rule for the table wrapper. Also, while we're at it, let's make the header font be a slightly bigger. So I'm making it 50% larger. If we look at this rule, what it says is it says only use this rule on pages that have a minimum width of 600, or larger. So if this is ever true, add this rule. And this rule says, hey, let's use some padding. Let's make a border radius, a little shadow around it. And then the font size, that rule is always in effect. So now you can come back and you can try to reload your table. And so now it should have this nice little box on it. And if you make your screen less than 600, it should go away. And then if it's greater than 600, it comes back. All right, so that part's good. I suppose we should go clean up some of this data. So first is the headings. So we need a quote and a movie for headings. That part's pretty easy. So you can see that before I had a number sign, I just wanted to say quote, and then I wanted to say movie. And then we're getting rid of 2 columns, so we're going from 4 columns down to 2, so I'll change it there. And then to be honest, inside the body, I'm just going to take what was there before and just delete it. And I'm going to go look at what we did before. So it works out nice that I've still got this HTML around before. And so before, what we did in the non-bootstrap version is we did something like this. So I'm just going to copy this guy. And then I'm just going to paste this inside the body. So we go through every movie quote that comes in the query. We loop through it, and we added an LI last time. This time, instead of an LI, we're going to add a table row. So I'm just going to switch my LI to a TR. Inside my LI, I had one section that was bold. It's not bold anymore. It's actually going to be a TD now. So I just changed that bold to a TD. And then I had a div. Well, I don't want a div. I want another TD, which means cell. And fix the closing tag on that as well. And so you can see that we're using a lot of the same code from last time, but we're just wrapping it in a different package. So we're going to go through the movie quote query, and for each one, we're going to make a new row, and it's going to have the quote and then the movie in it. And so by saving that, we should hopefully go back to our page, and we should have a tremendous amount of new functionality. So go and click on refresh. And presto, once it loads in, bam, all your quotes are back, right? So now we've got quotes. We can see things that are now a lie. Save quote that is visible in the data store only for now, right? So that one, is the one we had made before, and it was in the data store. And we've also got back all of our old data. So we hopefully had some data that was sitting around that's still there. If you don't have any data, you can go and add some. I mean, add quote should work now. So newest quote, all in Bootstrap. And then you can either click enter or add quote, or you can just hit enter, and you can see, bam, shows up right there. We've actually got a lot of functionality, right? So it's it's back up to where it was before. So we added a lot of stuff to get it back up to where it was before. But you can see we've got a much better platform for moving forward now. All right, that's display of quotes. We'll see you next time we add some more stuff.